Francisco Papal, I always respected him, and I hope to see him.
We'll come back to that in just a moment. From Asia News Weekly, you're listening to Asia Now, a collection of stories and interviews from the Asia-Pacific region. Pope Francis recently visited South Korea. What was it like for those seeking a glimpse of the Holy See, and what could it mean for the nation's Protestants? It's just one conversation taking place in Asia now. Welcome to Asia Now. I'm Steve Miller. Pope Francis recently wrapped up a 5-day visit to South Korea. It was the first papal visit in 15 years. But what was it like for those seeking a glimpse of the Holy See, and what was their experience? For that, we turn to SeoulItUp.com's Chance Dorland, who filed this report.
Thousands of Korean and foreign visitors traveled to the Seolmwae Holy Ground in the city of Dongjin to see Pope Francis on the second day of his Korean tour. The ground's arena and statues of 12 disciples commemorate the life and 1821 birthplace of martyred Catholic priest Father Andrew Kim Dae-gon, Korea's first ordained priest and now patron saint. Most only caught a glimpse of the Pope before he entered a closed-off indoor gathering for Asian youth, attended by pre-approved guests and journalists from around the world. Those not allowed in, however, watched the Pope on large screens and listened to the music of Korean musicians who claimed to be priests themselves. What's your name and where are you from?
My name is Song Yun-sun, and I'm a resident of Dongjin.
And so why did you decide to come out and see the Pope today?
Because Francisco Papa, I always respected him, and I hope to see him.
And are you Catholic?
Yes, I am Catholic, but I'm not very devoted.
And so coming here to see Pope Francis, who you admire, has that changed maybe the level of devotion for you? Will you be maybe more devoted now than before?
Yes, of course. Because I was high school student, so I was a little bit busy. So when I go to university and have some free time, I will always go to church.
And what effect do you think Pope Francis's visit to Korea will have on both the country and also other Koreans like you who are members of the Catholic Church?
He will give us hope, and now this time we are very in risk because of Seoul ship, and we are in very depressed attitude.
My name is Ricardo. I'm from Portugal. I was already in Macau, and I came specially from Macau to South Korea for the visit of the Pope. The bus was too crowded, the traffic was very hard, but I have my hope to see him still. It's the symbol of unity. It's the symbol of all one church for one God. Openness. I think it's the best way to describe this Pope.
My name is Tero Kaistinen from Finland. I'm working here. This is the one of the lifetime to see the Pope, so it was good time to come to see. It's like a role model for everybody.
I'm Pelada from Thailand. Yes, it's very special. Even I am a Buddhist, but I respect for every religion because every religion teaching people to be good people.
Fortunate enough now to be speaking with a sister of the Catholic Church, a Korean one at that. Could you tell me your name and where you're from?
My convent is Korean Martyrs, Blessed Korean Martyrs.
And so, of course, you're here today to see the Pope, and he's been speaking. We've been seeing him up on the Jumbotron, and right now they're leading a sort of a prayer song. People are holding hands here in front of us. Could you tell me about what it's meant for you today to come here and see the Pope in Korea, your home country?
I feel very happy because I can meet the Pope. I would like peace for our country through prayer of Pope.
And so now that the Pope is here and he's visiting today, the events are about to end, but then he has, the rest of his trip as well. What effect do you think the Pope coming to Korea will have on Catholicism here in the country?
I think Korean Church will have revelation for peace, for unite each other, to kingdom of God.
So this is fantastic. I'm speaking with someone who's actually on the same stage as the Pope making addresses to the crowd. I actually saw you up on the Jumbotron. Could you tell me your name and where you're from?
My name is Jeon Han. I come from Hong Kong.
And what was your role in today's ceremony?
Oh, I just was a representative by Hong Kong and China to Pope.
And so what was this experience like for you? This must have been, once in a lifetime opportunity to share the stage with the Pope, to be seen by thousands of people. What does that mean to you?
It's fantastic because Chinese people, they want to see the Pope, they want to meet the Pope, but we don't have a lot of chance. But I just invite to be talk to the Pope, meet the Pope. So I feel blessing and grateful, and I just want to say the Pope is love us, especially love Asia youth people. Yes, so that's why he came here and then he want to say what is not from the prepare, it's from my heart.
And so now you're going to go on and you're going to the press conference to discuss what you talked about with the Pope? After meeting with the Pope, what are your words of advice for the youth in your own countries who will never have that chance?
My name is Willem. I'm from Indonesia. Thanks for your invitation. He told us to pray, always pray, and attend the Eucharist, and make a social work for the others.
Alexander John from Pakistan. He told us what the message of the Pope is for us, for the youth, for the all Asia, for the whole world, that evangelize the Bible, evangelize the words of Jesus. And in my opinion and in my eyes, Pope is living the life of Jesus.
The Pope's visit to Korea marks the Church's 6th Asian Youth Day celebration. Pope Francis told those gathered there's hope for a Korean peace and led a silent prayer for Korean unification.
I thank you for your warm welcome. Very warm, eh? Very warm. This great gathering of Asian young people also allows us to see something of what the Church herself is meant to be in God's eternal plan. Together with young people everywhere, you want to help build a world that we are live together in peace and friendship, overcoming barriers, healing divisions, rejecting violence and prejudice. And this is exactly what God wants for us.
Pope Francis then spent Saturday in Seoul, where he beatified 124 Korean martyrs in Gwanghwamun Square. Sunday's activities included meetings with Asian bishops and a closing mass for Asian Youth Day activities. For SeoulItUp.com, I'm Chance Dorland.
Thanks again, Chance, for filing that report. As one might expect, Pope Francis's visit received a lot of domestic and international press. And while the nation is not Christian, say like the Philippines, Christianity has taken a strong root here on the peninsula, with roughly about 30% of the population today self-identifying themselves as a follower of Christ. That roughly breaks down to about 10% being Catholic, and the remainder being a Protestant or other denomination. Joining me now via Skype is Michael Hurt, an assistant professor at Hongik University, to discuss the possible implications of the papal visit.
One kind of easy prediction I made was that I think a lot of people are going to convert to Catholicism who hadn't before. Although I don't think that's as weighty of a thing as it sounds. I just think, there are some people who, if they're going to convert to Christianity, or not convert, but start going to church because their friend forced them, suddenly the Catholic religion looks a lot more friendly because a guy with a friendly face showed up and said a lot of nice things that I think most Koreans were really, really wanting to hear right about now.
Why do you think they wanted to hear that?
I think, I don't think the Pope, he's an important man, but I don't know if necessarily the Pope was coached to touch on certain subjects for political gain or anything like that. I just think Korea, after the Seoul, and I think the loss in faith in government sector and loss of faith in authority, I think that the Pope came at just the right time. I'm not sure if he knew that. I'm sure somebody told him that. But yeah, there are people who were really wanting to be reassured by someone in authority, for people to say things are going to be better. And also, I think he was sort of an external check, right? He actually publicly listened to the Seoul people, the fathers, the parents of the kids.
Right. He took the time and met with the parents, met with the folks on hunger strikes. And not only that, he also took some time out to meet with victims of sexual slavery.
Yeah. And I think a lot of that is just pure old-fashioned Hegelian recognition. It's stuff that some of the stuff that the actual government who's supposed to care isn't doing. That's, I think, the message that some of the people get from the Pope is, yeah, Park Geun-hye. I think in the end, this doesn't necessarily bode well for Park Geun-hye. So it's good that I don't know if they were thinking about it in those terms, but somebody surely was. The Pope's visit in the end isn't, I don't think, going to be great for Park Geun-hye's image, because the big problem she has is her administration was seen as dropping the ball. The Pope came in and was an external check, in a way, to a person who is actually caring about the plight of these victims, but in a way that their own government didn't. So that's going to be an issue.
Now, in an online post that you made, you also made some really interesting observations about how the churches refer to themselves in Korean.
Ah, yeah. That's, I think, like an old issue. I teach American history with some of the various hats that I wear. And when I cover the Puritans, generally I have to review, because, not that American students actually know what a Puritan is either. But if you have to talk about who the Puritans, the Quakers were, who the Pilgrims were, one of the standard exam questions I had was, what is the difference between the Puritan, or not necessarily the difference, explain, what the Puritans, the Pilgrims, and the Quakers were doing. Who were these people? And then, Korean students are like, hey, why are we talking about Christianity so much? And I'm like, because it's important. Because we have to understand the theological divides between these people and what was driving these people in history. The problem is, I talk about Protestantism, and a lot of the Korean students are like, huh? I know they've learned it in middle school because I know their textbooks. But they're like, Protestantism, what are they protesting? I'm like, don't you remember Martin Luther breaking away from the Catholic Church, that whole thing? Gutenberg's Bible. And the students generally are like, oh, no, I don't, remind us. And in Korean, Keishin-gyo means Protestantism. And Keishin is like reform. So Keishin-gyo is like, as Protestantism means actually the reformed religion. And that's implied to be Christianity. And actually, when you say Christianity, Kidok means to pray, and Kyo means religion. It means the praying religion, as opposed to other religions that don't have a single deity that you pray to. So for Koreans associate Christianity in a general sense with Kidokyo, the praying religion. And Kidokyo is basically Protestant Christianity. Even though technically the words in Korean, Keishin-gyo, if you say that in Korean, that's a very academic-y sounding word. So most people don't use Keishin-gyo and throw that around very much. So Kidokyo is Christianity. And Christianity means, my friends who keep trying to get me to go to their church, but I don't really want to go, but they keep trying to force me. I think Christianity is the guy in Myeongdong holding the sign saying, believe in Christ or you will go to hell. And it's this hardcore evangelical Christianity, Protestant Christianity that Koreans see a lot. And that's Gidokyo. That's not Catholicism. So, I have Korean students who say, wait, when I explain the Catholic Church and all that other stuff, they're like, wait, but Catholics aren't Christians. And I'm like, no, they are. By definition, anyone who believes in the divinity of Christ is a Christian, right? And follows Christ's teachings, by definition.
Absolutely. And you brought up a really interesting quote by the Reverend Song Chung-gil, Presbyterian pastor, who says, and I'm quoting what you wrote, "The enemy king has appeared at the center of our nation, and the trumpets of spiritual war against the idol worship and satanic forces."
Because, the problem with Protestant Christianity in Korea is it's got its own level of crazy. I mean, that's an old-fashioned kind of, it sounds like Cincinnati, Ohio in like 1850. That's like an old-fashioned, hardcore, Lutheran, German, immigrant kind of view of Catholicism. It's these, Pope worshiping outsider Italian, Spanish, swarthy people, that kind of, the man in the pointy hat calls the shots. He's running the secret society of idol worshippers living amongst us. I mean, that's the kind of rhetoric this guy is using, which is old-fashioned Protestantism is the way, Catholicism is not Christian. It's a bunch of idol worshipping, it's almost like pagans to that guy and to those people.
One last question for you before we go. Given that the Pope's visit came at such a crucial time and that overall Protestant churches are seeing a membership decline, do you foresee that many people may take a closer look at the Catholic Church and convert?
I definitely think that there's going to be an uptick in Catholic conversions, especially since the general feeling on the streets amongst Koreans, this isn't my opinion necessarily, is there's a very negative backlash against Christians, Protestant Christians in Korea, because of things that happened. What was it, 2007 with Yeouido church people who went to get caught by the Taliban, essentially?
Well, not only that, you had the head of the church embezzle some $500 million, 2 years ago as well.
Well, that's the thing. All these Protestant churches, Koreans, I hear people kind of clicking their teeth and saying, all these Protestant churches are just about money. And, it's a pretty accurate criticism. I mean, these mega churches here, it's about money. And you always have scandals in the news of these preachers who embezzle bazillions of dollars and do all these horrible things. And the image of Protestant Christianity amongst non-Protestant Christians in Korea, I think, is pretty negative. And I think the Pope came and reminded people of what Christian charity should look like. And I think that's one reason behind the negative, crazy talk that some of the Protestant leaders are giving out. Because basically it makes them look bad. And the Pope is a rock star.
That again was Michael Hurt, and boy, since I first started recording this podcast, the rain has really come down. I can hear it crashing against the windows. But that's not what I'm going to be talking about. What I do want to talk about is Pope Francis. And around the world, he is largely seen as a progressive. And based on his short tenure thus far as the Holy See, has really made an impact on several people. So I want to ask you, what do you think his legacy will be? Please share your thoughts in the comments on Facebook and Twitter. Now, if you haven't found us on either of these social media sites, let me give you those addresses. On Facebook, just search for Asian News Weekly, and the same on Twitter. It's at Asian News Weekly there. Now, if you have any feedback for the show, any questions, or any story ideas, feel free to drop us a line. The email address is asiannewsweekly@gmail.com. And don't forget, you can also download each and every one of our shows on our website through iTunes, Stitcher, and TuneIn Radio. And if you really enjoy this and our other episodes, please share them with your friends and subscribe so you won't miss the next one. If you do use Stitcher or iTunes, please could you do me a huge favor and rate and review the show. It's how podcast gets featured and would mean so much to me. Well, my friends, that is it for today. Thank you so much for listening. For Asia Now, I'm Steve Miller. Asia Now is licensed under a Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial No Derivatives 4.0 International License.